Despite the changes that 2020 has given us, 2020 has experienced change after change. At least one thing will not change, and one thing that hasn't changed for a long time. The NBA will have 5 games on Christmas Day. Johnny Talk Sports here to provide you with my 2020 NBA Christmas Day games predictions. So, 3 of these games are the point spreads, and 2 of them are the over-under. So, I'm going to begin with the game that starts on noon Eastern Time, the first of the 5 games, the Pelicans and the Heat. And for the Heat, lost in their season opener. And to be honest, I'm not really surprised. Because one of the disadvantages of having such a smaller offseason compared to other years is that the teams that were in the bubble the longest, I feel like they're going to be struggling a little bit through the early portions of the season. And we saw the Lakers come out and play flat against the Clippers, although I was kind of expecting that because when it's ring night, the defending champs, they just seem to come out a little bit flat and struggle a little bit. And the Lakers were just the next team to do that. But the Pelicans, while they do have some young talent and they have upside to them, if Zion lives up to his expectations and Lonzo Ball improves his jump shot, they have some upside. But the Miami Heat, they also have some young talent. Duncan Robinson, efficient three-point shooter. Tyler Hero, who took the bubble by storm. And they also have some veteran leadership in Jimmy Butler. So this Heat team is going to be motivated, and they're out to prove that last year was not a fluke. There wasn't no fluke just because it was a bubble and there was no fans in attendance. So I think the Heat win this and cover the 4.5. Next game I'm going to predict is the Warriors and the Bucks. Now this is, I believe, the 2:30 Eastern game. And for this, the over-under is 232.5 points. Now this one's kind of complicated because the Warriors, they're not going to be at their full strength. As we all know, Klay Thompson is out for the season, and Draymond Green has already been ruled out for that game. Now, Steph Curry, it's all going to be on him at this point. With no Draymond Green, no Klay Thompson, he's going to have to step up and be a leader. But the Warriors, they have added in Andrew Wiggins, Kelly Oubre, while the Bucks, they have added some depth for Giannis, which is what ultimately got him to sign that max deal a couple of weeks ago. As far as the over-under in this, see, unfortunately, with this season starting when it did, just on Tuesday, we don't have much in-season games to go off of. But I think this game is just going to be under. I think it's going to be under 232.5 by just a couple of points. I think we're probably going to end up with a point total maybe 225, maybe 223, but a few points under. I like the under 232.5. Next is the Nets and the Celtics in Kyrie's first game back in Boston since playing for the Celtics. And this is a huge motivator for Kyrie. Him and Kevin Durant, they really looked good against the Warriors on opening night. And now they go to Boston. And I like the Nets to cover the 3 points. I think the Nets and -3, I think this is the pick. Kyrie is going to have a good game against one of his former teams, and he's going to want to show out. And Kevin Durant, he's on a mission. I think Kevin Durant could be a leading candidate for MVP. I think he's going to definitely be comeback player of the year, and he's got something to prove. So the duo of Kyrie and KD, I think it's a dangerous duo, and I like the Nets at -3. So next for the Mavericks and the Lakers, the over-under for this is 227.5. Now this one's also a hard one because Kristaps Porzingis is out for the Mavericks, and the Lakers, they are looking to bounce back against their opening loss against the Clippers, and I do think they will. I think the Lakers win this outright, I will say that. But this over/under, it's a little bit challenging. So I feel like without Kristaps Porzingis in the lineup, Luka Doncic is going to have to be forced to try to put up 45 or 50 just for the Mavericks to have a chance of winning the game. I do like it to be over. I'm just not sure if the Lakers are going to blow out the Mavericks in this game. Because every time we see the Lakers lose a game, they look like they're coming out flat. I feel like they just have a really good bounce back game. We saw that all throughout the playoffs. As soon as they lost a game, they tended to bounce back. We saw it a couple times in the playoffs just last year. When they played bad and they lost, they played one of their better games of the season the very next game. And I think we're going to see one of those instances again on Christmas Day. I like this being the over. I think the Lakers win this pretty handily. I think the Lakers will get enough to beat the over of 227.5. And our final game for Christmas Day, the Clippers and the Nuggets. So the line is 2.5 for this game. The Clippers are the favorite. But I like the Nuggets at plus 2.5. I just think that Jokic is able to be able to provide a mismatch for the Clippers, because Jokic had a triple-double in the season opener. And the Clippers, well, they beat a Lakers team that was kind of experiencing a euphoria of getting their championship rings, while Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, they do have the talent to win the game by themselves. I just think that the Nuggets will just be winners of this game. And I think that this is one of those games where it's just going to come down to who plays the best in one night. And I think it's going to be Jokic. And I think with him being a mismatch, I think the Nuggets win this game outright and beat the 2.5 point spread. So those are my Christmas Day predictions. Like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you next time.